The internet has gone crazy with the news that Kylie Kelce, a former field hockey player, displaced Joe Rogan as the top podcaster in the world. Unfortunately, it's just not really true. I mean, after the election, people were really frustrated with Joe Rogan because of the influence that he appeared to have over the election. You know, possibly putting Trump over by a few percentage points to maybe win the election. I know that's up to debate. However, most of the world was wondering, well, maybe someone will step up and replace Rogan now that he's, fully gone onto the Trump side. And then, spectacularly, Kylie Kelce's podcast displaced him as the number one, because Joe Rogan has been in that spot roughly like 10, 15 years. And then Kelce's podcast just showed up because, she's related to the Taylor Swift empire, and people were really surprised at this. And so what is actually going on? Well, if you look at where Kylie Kelce is right now, she has dropped significantly in the rankings. You can see here, this is the top Apple podcast charts, and she is at number 8, which is, I don't know if you're any good at math, you can see that's significantly lower than the number 1. In fact, all of these other podcasts, including a podcast about telepathy, is above her. And now let me explain to you what's actually going on here. YouTube is the largest market for podcasts in the world, and you can see just days after launch, Joe Rogan is getting millions of downloads on every single one of his episodes. Meanwhile, Kylie Kelce is getting tens of thousands. Sometimes she gets into the hundreds of thousands, but it's actually pretty rare. This is actually the real metric where you rate how people are doing in the social media environment as the top podcast in the world. The reason why she appeared at the top of the charts is because the way Apple ranks podcasts is not by overall total listens. It's ranked by the rate of subscriptions on a show in a given, in a given time, in a given day. I think it's by the day. It might be by the hour. So if someone is subscribing to a show frequently, Kylie Kelce, when she first started, she was getting all these endorsements by the mainstream media, Taylor Swift's fan base, et cetera, et cetera. And so she was accelerating faster than Joe Rogan for that brief window. And then you can see now she has dropped to number 8 because she's no longer accelerating as fast as Rogan. What people fail to appreciate here is that Joe Rogan has been on that top spot for like 10, 15, maybe it was 20 years. It's a hell of a long time he's been in that top spot. And he's been accelerating for decades. And it's totally mathematically normal that someone else would occasionally bloop forward when they have a lot of hype around them and displace Rogan as the number 1 spot. So that is what is actually happening. That is why she appeared at the top spot. But make no mistake, Rogan is still like crazily more popular than anyone else on the internet. And that's for, I have major critiques of Joe Rogan, but let's just look at facts here. He's number 1 because he's been number 1 forever, and he is still acquiring people at a staggering rate. All right, that's all the news that's fit to print today. From Poke Bear LLC in Denver, Colorado, this was My Back Channel.